I'm Chloe, and in today's lesson we will learn how to encapsulate the best parts of a story, then decide how we might use that story in a conversation with a foreign friend. Most importantly, I will give you some time to compose your own answers, which we'll utilize in a virtual conversation between ourselves. Exciting, right? Okay, let's go. So in your last lesson, you learned about the story of Guan Weiren and Xian Xinghai and the composition of the incredibly famous piece of choral music, the Yellow River Chorus. That's what our lesson will focus on today. But firstly, we need to consider exactly why it would be useful for a person to know about this story. Many Chinese stories are yet to be told outside of China. I, for one, had never heard the tale of the Yellow River Chorus until recently. I even had to research the song lyrics. The first question I would like to answer today is this: why might a foreign friend be interested in learning about this story? I would like you to pause the video for around 5 minutes and think of as many reasons as you can. Once you are ready, you may play the video again. Okay, go. So, why might a foreign friend be interested in learning about this story? Brilliant work. I can see that you have written down a few different reasons. Let's see if we have any of the same ones. Here are some of my answers. 1. Our foreign friends will learn about some of the Chinese battles that occurred in recent history. 2. Our friends might like to learn about some important historical figures such as Xian Xinghai and Guan Weiren. Number 3. It might be interesting for our foreign friends to learn a little about Chinese spirit and culture so they can compare it to their own. Number 4. They might have a strong interest in music, and this story is focused on one of the most well-known songs in recent Chinese history. So as you can see, there are many times when you could start to discuss this story in a conversation. But would your friend want to read the whole text from the book? No, most probably not. It would also be very difficult for you to remember all of the most important details without carrying notes around with you. So, what must we do with the story? Yes, we need to condense it and make it a summary. This is not a regular style story with a beginning, climactic middle, and solution at the end. Rather, it tells us the tale about how two men were stimulated to create an inspiring piece of music throughout an incredibly tough time in order to ignite and encourage spirit and determination amongst their peers. I'm going to display a series of questions on the screen. I would like you to take your time to answer these questions and write them down in order to condense the story from the book. Once you are ready, you can press the play button to continue the video. Are you ready? Hi, welcome back. So I believe that you have taken your time to answer these questions. I would like to give you an example of what I think they should look like. In 1939, Guan Weiren led an entertainment troupe during the anti-Japanese war, and along the way, he met his good friend Xian Xinghai. They were very keen to share their experiences of the battles, obstacles and difficulties that they had been facing. They poured their hearts out freely and frankly. They looked around and were inspired by the sacrifices that were being given by such brave people, both men and women. Whilst battling on the front lines, Guan Weiren used his friends' passionate words and the bloody sights from the war to write the lyrics to the Yellow River Chorus. To inspire and encourage his troops, he cried out the slogan, "Roar out, Yellow River! Come, our people, come and defend Chinese land." This moved Qian Xinghai deeply and motivated him to write the musical accompaniment. When published, it caused a great sensation amongst Chinese society, and it encouraged and enthused the Chinese people to defend their country continuously and have faith. It's now an example of how, during such a tragic time, something so beautiful can be born, something which continues to move and inspire China. Even today, recitals of this music are performed around the world, educating and moving millions. Right, what do you think? That's much shorter than the original version, right? But could you memorize all of this? No, nor could I. So now, I would like you to make this even shorter, around 5 to 6 sentences if possible. I'll display my version of the summary on the screen, but you can also use your own summary. Please play the video when you are ready. Remember, you are to write a very short version of the story which you can then memorize for future use. 5 minutes, go! Okay, have you finished? Let's see an example of what your very short summary might look like. This is a story about a Chinese resistance group who, in 1939, were led by Guan Weiren across the Yellow River in order to defend China against Japan. Along the way, he met his good friend Qian Xinghai, and together they shared their tragic experience of the battles and difficulties that they had been facing. They were inspired by the bravery and dedication of the people who surrounded them at the battle front line, so much so that together they wrote the lyrics and musical accompaniment to Yellow River Chorus, which motivated and uplifted the courageous Chinese citizens to continuously defend their country. It's an example of how, during such a challenging time, something so beautiful can be born, a wonderful song. Performances of this music continue to move and inspire China and the world even today. So there you have it. Do you think that you could memorize this? Why would I memorize it? I hear you say. Well, do you remember at the start of this lesson, we decided why it would be important and useful to be able to retell the story in English? So we know why it might be useful to retell in English. We know how the story might be relevant to talk about during a conversation with an English friend, and we also know how to tell the story in a summarized way. What's left? We are going to have a virtual conversation, you and I. But first, to help you a little, I'm going to show you some of the questions that I might ask. The goal is to answer the questions in a way which focuses on or introduces the topic of the Yellow River Chorus story, so you can somehow discuss what you have learned about Guan Weiren and Qian Xinghai. Here are the questions. Take as long as you need to answer them. You may want to take notes so you can keep the conversation coherent and clear. Hi, welcome back. So now that you have thought about the answers, we are going to have a virtual conversation. I'm going to take the role of an English university friend. I'll make general conversation with you and pause when I think you can answer with a brief answer. For example, I might say, "Hi, how are you today?" And then I will pause for a few seconds for you to respond with something like, "I'm very well, a little tired from my studies, but good, thank you." Then I will continue. However, if I ask a question that takes a little longer to answer, you will see the question on the screen with a white background. At this point, you can pause the video so then you can answer the question with as much detail as possible. The questions I ask might not be in the exact same word order as the questions I showed you on the screen. I also might ask a few questions that are extra, but if you have done the work from this lesson, you should be prepared to answer. Please be prepared for that. You can pause the video at any time. Sometimes I've given you the tips about how to answer afterwards, but mostly you're going to have to come up with your own answers. You can send me some in if you want. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Hi, it's great to see you. I've been so busy with my studies. How about you? Hopefully, all of your hard work will help you get a good grade. I've found that listening to music really helps me to concentrate. I can't listen to popular music, though. It has to be something relaxing. How about yourself? When do you like to listen to music? And why do you prefer these times? I love listening to different types of music at different times of the day. First thing in the morning, I like to listen to lively music to get me going, but later in the evening, I like to listen to slower music so that it can either help me relax or focus on my studying. Tell me a little about popular music in China. Do you have a favourite song or style of music? Why is that your favourite? Oh, me? Oh, I can't really answer this question for you. You'll have to answer that with whatever music you enjoy yourself. However, remember to describe whatever your favourite music is clearly, giving necessary background information where necessary. That sounds really cool. I remember when I was at primary school, we had to learn some really silly songs. They used to make me and my friends laugh so much. What about you? Are there any common songs that children learn when at school in China? Can you give me some examples, please? So, in this instance, you can list several songs that you used to learn at school, but one of them you can mention is the Yellow River Chorus. Ah, yes, I think I have heard of a few of those. Why do you think songs like the Yellow River Chorus are taught at school? What do children learn from songs like this? So here, you can explain a little about the background to the Yellow River Chorus, especially how it celebrates a famous Chinese landmark and the fact that it was written during the anti-Japanese, a time when Chinese fought bravely to defend their homeland. Can you tell me a little more about the Yellow River Chorus, please? When and why was it written? An example answer to this question would be to talk a little about Guangwiren and Xianxinhai. What a fascinating story! Now I know about the background to it, I can truly sense the patriotism involved. And you mentioned that this particular music is performed even today. Why do you think so many people enjoy live performances performed by people from a different culture? What can they learn from it? Okay. Thank you so much for the talk today. I've learned so much. I can't wait to see you again so we can talk more about China and its stories.